So I want to share a case study that I worked with a mum who was going through child protection proceedings. The local authority had concerns and they were going to start court proceedings to remove her child. Got previous children in care. So this time she was really worried, understandably, that the outcome from these proceedings were going to be the same as the previous proceedings. So she was reluctant at the beginning to engage with social services, and they recognised that she needs an advocate. She had a previous advocate. I began working with her, getting to know her. I would visit her at home. She was pregnant with a child at the time, so I'd visit her at home. We'd maybe go out for a little walk outside, and that was just a way of building up the relationship and building up the trust. And then during that time, that's when she was able to open up to me and tell me what her fears were about the previous experience and why she was worried it was all going to happen the same again. But the situation was different this time, and we were able to point out the positives and the negatives, and especially there was actually more positives this time, that the situation was different. Although the local authorities' worries were the same, her actual situation was completely different. So that helped her focus on the positives, if you can think of it that way, that actually, maybe this time it might be different. So we put a request into the social worker to ask, can advocacy be funded not only for meetings but also for the assessments? And that was agreed. So the social worker had to go to the commissioner, and then that was agreed that the additional advocacy would be provided for the assessments. So I would meet her before the assessments, we would talk about it in advance. I'd find out from the social worker what kind of topics was going to be covered. We could talk about it before so it wasn't a surprise, she could prepare. I attended all assessment sessions with her, and I also supported the social worker to alter the ways of communication with her. So she really worked well with pictures and colours. So when the social worker was coming to see her, he would draw things that he was wanting to talk about with her, and that really helped my client understand what he was saying, and he would leave it with her so that then once the social worker went and she was able to relax a bit, because we all know that when parents are going through child protection, they get really anxious when they're with the social worker. So once the social worker left and we were able to sit calmly, we could go over again what was discussed, and that, for as an advocate, you could see that she was understanding the information, so any decisions or any wishes, anything she'd made from that point on, you knew was an informed decision. Through the process, when the mum was getting a lot more confident, we started to work a lot on self-advocacy, and she was beginning to build her confidence and she was beginning to advocate for herself. So the process was coming to a natural end because she started using me as her advocate, as just a kind of, can I run stuff by you? Can we have this conversation first? And she was actually starting to self-advocate for herself through the process. And she would challenge the social worker herself. She would say she wasn't happy with something. She would speak to me first, and but she would do it herself. And that's a huge difference from the beginning. She literally was scared to speak to the social worker, never mind challenge him. The guardian, the children's guardian who was involved through this process, was also involved in the previous process as well, and she actually highlighted in her report the difference advocacy made being involved in the assessments, because the local authority make decisions on these assessments, and because she had the support through these assessments, it made a big difference. So the guardian recognised the huge difference it made this time to last. So I think the important key is advocacy was provided, but it was person-led. She was able to identify what she wanted her advocate to support her with, and she was able to build on her confidence, and the advocate was able to take a step back as well to let her take the lead and start to self-advocate. So I'm confident with this person that I'm working with that she has got the skills and the tools to be able to self-advocate in future.